In this video we will be examining the emotional spiral chart level 8. This is a multi-level series brought to you by Insight and Senses. I hope you have been following along with this series as we delve into the journey of raising one's vibration through the examination of various emotions. If you are new to this series, welcome. If you have been following along, welcome back. So glad you're here. Now let us begin level 8. In level 8 we will be examining the emotions of grief, feeling unsupported, revenge and anger. Now let's start with grief. What is grief? Grief is the natural emotional response to the loss of someone or something significant. It can manifest as intense sadness, shock and numbness, and is a crucial part of coping with loss. Grief is not limited to death. It can also occur after significant life changes or disruptions that challenge our sense of normalcy. Overall, grief is a normal and inevitable response that affects every part of our lives. Reasons for grief. You may grieve the loss of a friend, family member, partner or pet, a marriage, friendship or another form of kinship, your home, neighborhood or community, your job or career, financial stability, a dream or goal, good health, your youth, fertility. When coping with loss such as death, there are 5 stages of grief we go through. Denial. You may have difficulty accepting that a loss is real. Anger. You may direct anger at multiple sources, including people who couldn't save a loved one, God, yourself, or anyone in particular. Bargaining. You may imagine reaching an agreement so you don't have to deal with a loss. You may also regret past actions that you imagine could have spared you from loss. Depression. You may experience the complex emotions associated with depression, including emotional detachment. Acceptance. Eventually, most people embrace the reality of loss even if the pain's still there. There are different types of grief we can go through. Here are some examples. Anticipatory grief. Anticipatory grief involves grieving before the actual loss. Abbreviated grief. You can grieve a loss quickly because you've already done a lot of emotional labor while anticipating that loss. Delayed grief. Instead of experiencing the emotions that accompany grief immediately after a loss, you feel them days, weeks, or even months later. Inhibited grief. Inhibited grief involves repressing emotions. Cumulative grief. With cumulative grief, you're working through multiple losses at once. Collective grief. Most of us think of grief as personal, but collectives, groups, grieve too. Major events like wars, natural disasters, school shootings, etc. There are 3 common symptoms when going through loss and grief. Emotional symptoms. Sadness that a loved one's gone but relief that they're at peace. Yearning for a spouse after a divorce but also excitement that you get another shot at love. Guilt for feeling grateful that you no longer have to provide exhausting around-the-clock care for a dying relative. Competing feelings of apathy, anger, sadness and regret as you grieve the loss of a friend or family member with whom you had a strained or hostile relationship. Physical symptoms include fatigue, headaches, nausea, restlessness, upset stomach, heart palpitations, weak muscles or joint pain, tightness in your chest or throat, having reduced or increased appetite, trouble sleeping, insomnia, or sleeping too much. Behavioral symptoms, confusion, trouble thinking or making decisions, feeling as if you've lost a sense of hope or direction, difficulty focusing on anything other than your loss. Difficulty remembering or keeping track of your responsibilities. 5 ways to cope with grief. 1. Practice self-care. Taking care of your mind and body is essential when you're grieving. Proper sleep, diet, exercise, relaxation. 2. Stick to a routine. Grief interrupts your sense of normalcy, disrupting your emotions in the process. Sticking to a routine is a good way to regain a sense of control and regulate your emotions. 3. Attend to your emotions. Resist the urge to distract yourself from difficult emotions by getting lost in work or hobbies. Grieving requires dealing with painful emotions. 4. Reach out to others. One of the best ways to deal with loss is to remind yourself of the connections you still have. It's okay to need alone time when you're grieving, but don't isolate yourself. 5. Speak to a therapist or grief counselor. If grief is interfering with your ability to live your life, or if your symptoms haven't improved after 6 months, it may be time to reach out to a professional. You're strong. You will get through this. Remind yourself, I am resilient. Next we will discuss feeling unsupported. 11 signs of being unsupported in a relationship. 1. They minimize your feelings. 2. They're dismissive. 3. They often let you down. 4. They aren't happy for your successes. 5. They show no interest in your goals. 6. They make everything about them. 7. They disappear when times get tough. 8. They don't find little ways to help. 9. They talk over you. 10. They're super negative. 11. They don't follow up. 10 things to do when unsupported by your spouse. Recognize natural differences in emotional expression. Teach your partner how you wish to be shown support. Remind your partner that you don't want them to fix things. Validate your own feelings. Respect their right to process difficult times differently to you. Make sure you are emotionally supportive of them. Ask them to get behind you. Don't expect them to make the same changes you wish to make. Be patient with them. Look to others for support. 10 signs you are not being supported at work. 1. Lack of gratitude. 2. Bad work assignments. 3. No one has time for you. 4. Lack of support. 5. Negative comments. 6. Not learning and growing. 7. Doing others' work. 8. Not being compensated. 9. Lack of boundaries. 10. Feeling isolated. What to do when feeling unsupported at work? Be realistic. Before you take any action, ask yourself whether you're being realistic about the amount of appreciation you expect from your boss, colleagues, and peers. Talk to your boss. If your above-par efforts are going unsung, engage your boss in a conversation. Increase your team's visibility. If you manage a team, you also need to look for ways to explain to others what the group does and why it's valuable. Recognize others' contributions. One surefire way to get your own work noticed is, paradoxically, to praise and appreciate others. Validate yourself. While being appreciated and valued for your work is a wonderful thing, you can't expect all your motivation to come from honors, accolades, and public gratitude. Consider moving on. If you continue to feel undervalued and unappreciated by your company, it might be a sign that it's not the right place for you. Overcoming feelings of being unsupported. Treat yourself well. Don't believe depression misconceptions. Realize others may be struggling. Find support elsewhere. Know you have new goals to set. Know you are a star. Shine brightly. Now we will review anger. What is anger? Anger is an intense emotion you feel when something has gone wrong or someone has wronged you. It is typically characterized by feelings of stress, frustration, and irritation. Characteristics of anger: increased energy levels, raised blood pressure, spike in hormones like adrenaline and noradrenaline, increase in body temperature, increased muscle tension, raised voices, clenched fists, frowning or scowling, a clenched jaw, physically trembling, rapid heartbeats, sweating excessively, pacing excessively, complications of anger, high blood pressure, depression, anxiety, insomnia, substance abuse, gastric ulcers, bowel disease, diabetes. Causes of anger. Anger is often caused by a trigger. This could be either rational or irrational. Some common triggers that cause anger include dealing with the loss of a loved one, losing a job, going through a breakup, failing at a job or a task, being fatigued, getting in an accident, or getting a condition that causes physical changes in your body. For example, losing your sight or your ability to walk. Anger could also be a symptom or response to a medical condition. Anger could be a symptom of depression, substance abuse, ADHD, or bipolar disorder. There are 3 different types of anger. Passive-aggressive anger. Here, a person tries to repress their anger to avoid dealing with it, but typically ends up expressing it in unhealthy and undermining ways. Assertive anger. This can be a healthy option for expressing anger. It involves handling anger in a controlled manner by using your words to calmly explain and try to diffuse the situation. Here, anger is expressed in a non-threatening way. Openly aggressive anger. This type of anger might be accompanied by physical or verbal aggression such as screaming or hitting things. The aim of this type of anger is typically to hurt the person the anger is directed at emotionally or physically. How to cope with anger. Identify the cause. The first step to coping with anger is identifying the root cause of your anger. Could be another emotion, maybe one of fear or loneliness. Could be an altercation you had or an unpleasant thought that came to mind. Meditate. Meditation is very beneficial in helping to control human emotions. You can start with simple meditation techniques like deep breathing exercises. When faced with a situation that makes you angry, take a second before reacting. You can take several deep breaths to calm yourself or try to count until you feel yourself become calmer. Workout. Exercising isn't just great for your physical health, it's also beneficial for your mental health. It's also a way to channel out emotions like anger in a useful and productive way. Going for a quick run or swim when you are angry could help defuse the emotion. Let it out. Don't bottle your anger up. Expressing your anger when you feel it is the healthiest way to get through it. Bottling up the emotion is most likely to cause a sudden and intense outburst when you least expect it. Avoid triggers. If you are quick to become angry, it's useful to try to identify and avoid your triggers. If you are often triggered when having a conversation with a particular person or about a particular topic, avoid them or that topic until you've learned how to have better control over your anger. Repeat, I am in control at all times. You've got this. In our last segment, we will discuss the emotion of revenge. What is revenge? Revenge is defined as committing a harmful action against a person or group in response to a grievance, be it real or perceived. What is revenge? Revenge is often driven by anger and the anticipation of satisfaction. Carrying out revenge may not bring true satisfaction and can create more problems. Acts of revenge do not repair trust or re-establish justice. Revenge can serve different purposes depending on the context. It is a powerful internal force that we need to understand. Motivation for revenge. Seeking revenge is often an initial human response to wounds incurred at the hands of others. When focusing on revenge, we may be driven by a sense of rectifying whatever has caused pain. However, focusing on revenge is a distraction from fully experiencing the pain resulting from the offense. Ruminating about or acting on revenge involves a temporary orientation of our attention outward that competes with and overshadows our turning inward. Yet, it is only when we turn inward that we encounter the intense suffering regarding what has happened. Challenges to letting go of revenge. There are certainly contrasting opinions about the justification for revenge. We could follow phrases such as an eye for an eye. We could cite the many historical examples of individuals acting out their revenge, even when it resulted in greater suffering for them in the long term. This is another aspect of attention to revenge. It can blind us to the long-term impact on ourselves. In effect, taking revenge may not ultimately be in our best interest overall. The problem is that revenge provides only a short-lived satisfaction. It does not really make up for the suffering we may experience and in fact only prolongs the enduring suffering of the original offense. Letting go of revenge. Letting go of the desire for revenge requires strengthening our rational brain to override our emotional brain, an ability to show restraint even while we may wish for revenge. It calls for strengthening our capacity for forgiveness of ourselves and others. This requires ongoing self-monitoring and commitment to change and, by doing so, developing a new default reaction to experiencing wounds. Additionally, channeling our attention toward the satisfaction of our personal core goals and aspirations frees us from bearing the weight of revenge. It helps us to move on in our lives, in spite of our wounds. Challenge yourself for personal growth. Do whatever it takes to heal. You're worth it. Now that we've come to the end of level 8, here are some tips and techniques you may want to consider. Here are the presentation slides for level 8 if you wish to review again. You can pause at any time to read through. Thank you for joining me on level 8. I hope you have enjoyed this journey so far. Like, share, and subscribe if you would like more video content like this one. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.